We're going to pick up where we left off in the previous video by utilizing the Voxel fill brush to fill in all the small to intermediate holes, and then where we may find extremely large openings or gaps, we can then reconstruct that portion with other tools such as primitives or other object creation tools in 3D Coat. I will continue to speed up the playback during much of this process. And just as I mentioned in the first video, I really want to emphasize how voxel sculpting is really like having a magic pen to use for these really problematic areas of a 3D scan or photogrammetry scan. And I would even go so far as to submit to you that if you do this type of work as a freelancer, 3D Coat can pay for itself in just one job because it really shaves off that much time. And as a side note, I would also highly recommend using a 3D connection device when doing this type of work because it allows the artist to continue working without having to stop and navigate. With the device in your offhand, you can navigate simultaneously while sculpting on your model in texture painting or doing retopology work. And if you try one just for a week to get used to it, I think you'll find that you'll be surprised how you ever got along without it. Now switching to the sphere brush because it can lay down some very thick brush strokes that provide a fair amount of volume. And then I can go back and smooth or polish the overall shape. And I'm switching to the airbrush to help finish building out the form. And at any time I can switch to a surface brush, such as some of the polishing brushes. I'm going to stop working on this shoe momentarily, but I will come back to it later to finish polishing it up. I'm now going to slow down a bit while we talk about some tools that we can use to fix extremely large gaps or openings in a 3D scan or photogrammetry scan. One of the fastest options might be using something like a freeform primitive in order to fill the missing volume. In the tool panel, let's scroll down to the Objects section and click on Primitives, or hit the spacebar and access the Objects section here. Anyway, let's go to the Primitives tool, and you can utilize regular primitives or parametric primitives here, or we can use something like a freeform blob, and we can give it a number of different control points. Let's try maybe 2 by 3. Then transform the lattice so that I can place it more accurately. Currently I have a few curves that I have created, which I can use with various tools in 3D Coat, and I will get to that in just a few moments. With this option, Transform Lattice Toggle, we can make basic transform edits. I can uncheck that and adjust it even further now. So what I want to do is hit the E key to bring up the E panel. And I'll choose the freeform lasso. You can see the gizmo here. I can click on these transform handles to make minor adjustments now. If I want to deselect, I can just drag my cursor in open space to deselect, or I can just select other points. Grab the edge, maybe push that in. So with that done, I can go ahead and apply this to the currently selected layer, or if I want to keep it separated temporarily, I can go ahead and create a new layer. It's important to note that when working with primitives, when you apply it, you're actually performing a Boolean operation, whether it's add, subtract, intersect, or split. I'm going to add this freeform primitive to the empty voxel layer and then merge it later on with the body. I can now step out of that tool. I'll just switch to anything like the move tool, which will allow me to further tweak and finesse the shape. Okay, and I'm going to hide these curves. Let's take this object and I'm going to ghost it so I can better see this new object as I work on it. Okay, so I think I would probably stop here at this point, merge it together, and then just try to sculpt out the details a little bit more. There are a couple different ways that we can do that. We can right click and we can choose at the bottom of the menu here to merge, visible, merge with the subtree, merge selected, or we can just pick here. I can click on this little icon and I can pick the object I want to merge it to. I'll hit escape. The other way that you can do it, and this is the way I typically do it most often, is to come to the right side of the layer and you see this little move icon now made visible. If I hold down the Shift key while dragging it onto the layer that I want to merge to, it is effectively an additive Boolean operation. If I'm holding down the Control key instead, it will actually subtract. Let's hold the Shift key and drag it onto this layer. Shift drag onto the layer that I want to merge it to. And that's it. Now, when you do these type of merging operations, I would strongly suggest to remember to right click and choose fill voids, because sometimes it can create little bubbles, little voids inside the model. And you may find issues relating to that later if you're trying to use auto retopo, or maybe when you are trying to export the model, 3D Coat may see that little bubble as a separate object. We don't want that, or we want 3D Coat to see it as, one solid object. And now that we have reconstructed the overall volume, we can refine the shapes with our sculpting brushes. I will start with the usual clay brush, and you might think of this as a standard clay type of brush. Sometimes I'll switch to the Voxel Smooth brush directly instead of holding the Shift key to smooth. The Voxel Grow brush is somewhat like the Draw brush in surface mode, but it applies smoothing while you sculpt. I'm going back to the Fill tool, and I will just alternate with that and holding the Shift key to smooth. The Fill tool is actually quite valuable even at this stage because it helps to fill in even small deviations in the surface. We will stop this video here and resume in the next one, where I will demonstrate 3 additional tools or techniques you can choose from when filling large openings in a scan mesh. Thank you for watching, and we will see you then.